Welcome, everybody, to another Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's your good friend, Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, we got a fantastic one for you as we do another round of the morning show, the BDA morning show here, talking a little boxing. Get you ready for the day. And there's a lot to talk about, let me tell you. It's a special call-in show. You guys get to call in, give us your thoughts on anything and everything boxing. We had an eventful series of fights this weekend, on top of a little drama involving everyone's favorite rascal, that is Teofimo Lopez Jr. So we're going to talk all about that, plus more. You guys get to call in, give us your thoughts. But now, before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way. You guys know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so via the Super Chat feature. It's always better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. But everything's appreciated. You can also join our Patreon for free. Donate as much or as little as you like. Get special content over there. Don't forget to hit that like, spread that BDA gospel. You can also donate via the Buy Me a Coffee app. That always works as well. Link is in the description. But like I said, the most important thing is you continue to spread that BDA gospel. Hit the like button and subscribe. That's the most important thing right there. And let's give a big shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Buddy Love. Never Sobers in the chat. Shout out to him. Sergeant, Quicksloth, FST, SSC in the house. Shout out to SSC, one of the initiated. Ricardo Renteria, round one. Quicksloth, JC. Who else we got here? Hold on a second. Round one, Quicksloth, Grim Reaper. Many more people to come, I'm sure. Abel, shout out to Abel. And many more people to come. Hey, I am sure. All right, let me just get ready here. We got a couple of things going, but before we do start everything, because I think I'm gonna forget here. But Mike McCollum passed away this weekend or on Friday. I forget exactly when, but they said he died suddenly, which is unfortunately something you're starting to hear a lot since 2021. Not gonna get into the whys of that, but one thing for sure is that Mike McCollum he didn't look in the best of shapes for a former professional boxer. The guy was kind of on the heavy side. Hold on a second. How do I get rid of this sound here? There we go. Yeah, he was kind of on the heavy side. I don't know if you've ever seen photos of recent footage of Mike McCollum. I think ever since he retired, he started blowing up. In fact, I think when he was never the most ripped, cut fighter. Like Jimmy said, he didn't have that tight body. You know, Jimmy likes to see if guys can get how big, how heavy, how solid, how tight they can get. And Mike McCollum certainly wasn't that. So I don't know if that played a factor into his death. But nevertheless, shout out to Mike McCollum, 3-division world champion, one of the most underrated guys out there. And he's one of the few guys who managed to get himself a title late in his career. So it's unfortunate that he passed away, but hey, that's the way they go. We got Sobers jumping in here. Sobers, are you there?
What's up, BDA?
What's up? Sobers is still going. Did you take a little nap before coming here, or just an all-nighter?
No, I'm usually up around this time.
Bullshit. But anyway, sorry. I had a cough early in the morning. I don't know what happens. But yeah, man. Hey, listen, I heard you on... I was listening to you on Matchad last night, and, I'm waking up early to do this show. Meanwhile, I'm listening to people going at it. It was an exciting show, so it's never good to listen to an exciting show before going to sleep, because then you can go to sleep. So shout out to the Mad Chatter there for putting on an entertaining show. And shout out to Sobers for being there, too.
Well, I was just over there.
Yeah, it was entertaining, man. Very entertaining. I suggest people go check it out. Now, let's get right into it here, Sobers. Teofimo Lopez, the past weekend, getting himself into a bit of a controversy here. Just Teofimo Lopez, Sobers, just doesn't know when to stop. And at this point, you have to wonder, is he doing this on purpose, or is it just his character coming out, being unable to control himself? This is what he said about Turki Al-Sheik a couple of days ago. He posted a picture of Turki Al-Sheik with Ryan Garcia or Canelo, I forget, and he said, Dick Tater. Not the most subtle or ingenious of insults.
What?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me share the screen with you here. Hold on a second. OBS is giving me all sorts. I mean, Discord is giving me all sorts of trouble here. There we go. Okay. So yeah. So he called the Sheik a dictator, and then the Turkey al Sheik replied in Arabic, saying, "Maturity is to realize most things don't deserve a reaction." First of all, Sobers, that's easy for the Sheik to say when you know he has the power to chop the guy's hands off, behead him, maybe stone his wife, bury her deep in sand and then lapidate her. So he's probably. Do you think Turkey al Sheik is being really? He's being wise here in this situation, or you think he's being purposely humble in order to lower Teofimo Lopez's defenses?
Uh, hmm. I'm not sure. I think he's starting to get to the hang of these boxers, and dealing with them, knowing that they're all divas, maybe bigger divas than he is. So there's been a couple situations where he's kind of clashed with boxers, and then he kind of goes back on his word after like shutting them off, like Canelo, for example, and even Gervonta Davis, right? I think he's still open to talking to him. And then there was that little thing with Shakur Stevenson. I
Oh
think
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he had to threaten Tyson Fury to show up for the Usyk fight. He said, you know what I mean? Because he kept delaying it, and they said the next
Mm-hmm.
guy who delays the fight, you're going to take like money off their purse.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Now you remind. Yeah,
So
you know
I
what?
think he's dealt with some divas.
Uh huh.
So he's starting to learn a little bit better how to act with them and how to reel them back in.
It's a good point. I'd forgotten about that about the Tyson Fury thing there, where he threatened them. Hey, listen, if anybody pulls out again, nobody pulls out on the Sheik. The Sheik demands that people finish inside of him. Um, but you know what? It's true though. Once you start thinking about it, there have been people who have been trying to pull off their usual tricks against Turkey al Sheik, and he's not having it. By the way, uh, in the chat, somebody says, hold on a second. Casamigos Kyle says, maturity is to realize His Excellency owns a bone saw. Ah, come on. he's saying he's going to chop him up. The Sheik is going to chop Teofimo Lopez up like they allegedly chopped up that journalist a couple of years ago.
Well, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if one of these boxers goes missing mysteriously.
Oh, you know what? I was reading about that dude. I'd forgotten about him. There was a guy, the first guy to ever defeat John Ruiz in the professional ranks was a Russian guy in the mid 90s. This was unusual to see fighters from the Soviet bloc or former Soviet bloc at that time in professional boxing. It wasn't still a thing. And that Russian dude ended up being Ruiz, and then he disappeared. Turns out the mob, the Russian mob, killed him. They broke his neck.
What the hell?
So yeah, so I mean, I don't know about the Saudi Arabian mob or whatever that may be, but you never know. I mean, when a guy's got billions in the bank, and when they're throwing millions at a sport just for the fun of it, you suspect that if they really want to get rid of somebody, they can, or if they want to put a hurting on somebody, they know the people to do so. But
Oh, for sure. Just invite them over. Set a little meal for them, make them feel comfortable, and then bring them to the palace, and then you got them.
what do you think would happen if Teofimo Lopez goes in there for the next fight? I mean, do you expect? Okay, first of all, this is what ended up occurring then. So that was a couple of days ago. When was it? Hold on. Let me look at the date in the screenshots. That was about 5 days ago. That was 5 days ago. And then Teofimo Lopez ended up capitulating, as most people dealing with Turkey al Sheik tend to do. And this is what he had to say. Hold on a second. Where's my Firefox here? No, wait a minute. I'm not using Firefox today. All right. Here is what he had to say. To His Excellency, Turkey al Sheik, I take full responsibility for my inappropriate words on the X app. He's calling it X now. Very hip. I publicly apologize to he. Okay, now it sounds like an old Jew talking about God. They couldn't say I am.
He or ye?
Yeah, he, H-E. I publicly apologize to Adonai. I will conduct myself with great respect, greater respect, humility, and professionalism, sending love and light. What the fuck's he on? Sending love and light, illuminating all my brothers and sisters. Thank you, he says. Boxing, make boxing great again. So those are his hashtags. Sobers, if you're Teofimo Lopez, do you expect him to sort of be a little nervous by the time he steps into a Saudi Arabian event?
Yeah, I don't think these guys know that they're stepping in quicksand messing with these guys, especially when they run the whole when when you're participating in their events, you're in a whole different country. You're in their world, far away from yours, where your American entitlement doesn't mean as much. So yeah, I think these guys should choose their words a little more carefully, especially if they're accepting money from these people, because they're going to demand something from you. And yeah, these wrestlers don't get out of line. These basketball players don't get out of line. Some of these boxers, one of them, I'm telling you, one of them is going to be disappearing. Maybe he's going to be like an Englishman, some minor dude that we don't know, but it might be Cambosos. But someone's going to get, thrown in the palace dungeons.
Wait. Are you saying then, just to recap here, are you saying someone's going to be thrown into the Sheik's sex dungeons? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're alluding to?
Yes.
Well, I mean, listen, it's not that far fetched. I mean, this is a dude that forces Dana White, who's a pretty powerful guy in his own right, Terence Crawford, a bunch of boxers to hold his hand. It's almost like a power move. It's like what Josh would call sexual submission. So I have to wonder if that's what he's doing to you when you're just working for him, what's he gonna do to you if you piss him off?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And someone's gonna catch it. It's gonna happen to somebody. There's gonna be some story that comes out. Maybe it'll be a local fighter that I happen to, someone that refused to take a dive to make a prospect look good. You know what I mean? But I can just imagine what they'll do to them. And I just can't see it. I can't see it not happening.
They refuse to take a dive, and in return, Turki Al-Sheikh dives into their asses. I mean, you just got to watch out with this guy, because that's a scary thing. You don't know what he's going to do. The unexpected is the most frightening aspect of all of this in life. By the way, Fight Hype, who I believe they're more like an Afro-Anglo boxing channel, they still talk to Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez, despite some of the comments he made, is still being... Nothing happened to him, essentially, Sobers. Remember that those comments he made...
Don't they call that channel Floyd Hype?
Well, they used to call it. Now that... Well, because apparently, or allegedly, the Mayweather effect was taking place where he was funding the channel. And
but not anymore.
That was a rumor. And when the guy used to go to these events, Floyd Mayweather fights, and it was his turn to ask Mayweather a question, and allegedly he would ask him about what color trunks he was going to wear for the fight. That was the level that they were playing at. But Fight Hype. They talked to Lopez earlier this week. I don't know which boxing event, and this is what he had to say about his relationship with the Turkey.
Why did Turkey fire you?
Turkey fired me. I think that it's just miscommunication. Obviously, me doing my rant a little bit, but nevertheless, God willing, things just pass over, and we kind of look forward to the future.
Are you still looking forward to doing business with Turkey in the future?
That's whether or not we do business. I definitely just want to state out that I took a road that I shouldn't have taken in that regard. I got a lot of people.
All right, there's music in the background there. I don't know if we can play that, but notice the religious language being used by Teofimo Lopez. Earlier, he was talking about illumination, referring to Turki Al-Sheikh as he, sort of like in an old Abrahamic Judaic way, Adonai, I am. Now he says Passover. He used the word Passover, the term. So I don't know. And by the way, Sobers, is it me or does the interviewer here, who I think sounds a little bit like an Afro-Anglo guy, is he being a little zesty? A little bit, like trying to talk over Teofimo Lopez, pressing him. Check this out. Hey, what the fuck? Hold on a sec. Because he's sort of interrupting him a little bit.
Why did Turkey fire you?
Here. See, why did Turkey fire you?
Why did Turkey fire you?
Yeah, and then check this out here.
Things just pass over, and we kind of look forward to the future.
Are you
and
still
seeing what we're
looking
doing.
forward to doing business?
See, he interrupted him. He's like impatient.
He
Like,
didn't let him finish answering yet.
are you still gonna be finding us? Well, you know, things happen in boxing. What are you gonna be doing tomorrow? Tell us what you're doing tomorrow. It's like, wait, man, you hold on. And he's not even listening to what Teofimo Lopez is saying. He's just waiting to ask the next question, which is very annoying. A very annoying trait from interviewers. But what do you think, Sobers? Is now they're talking about Teofimo Lopez? Okay, he wanted the Jermall Charlo fight. Jermall is not taking it, and we talked about it a week and a half ago, I think, about whether that constitutes a duck. Because some people were saying that. People were saying, "Oh, it's a duck. It's a duck." What do you think is going to be happening next? Because now the rumor is that he's going to be fighting Devin Haney, perhaps. How do you see that fight going?
I think Teofimo can beat him, but we're hearing conflicting stories, right? Because last week we heard that Devin Haney was asking for an astronomical number to fight Teofimo, and Boots was saying no, no, no. And now this week, Teofimo's been fired, and he's the one that's having a hard time accepting the fight with Haney. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I don't really see Teofimo scared of Devin Haney or like as a matchup. I think he could beat him. I think he could. I mean, I think he'd do everything better than him, basically. So, except maybe jab. But I think that fight should be, with the kind of track record that Turkey has, he'll make that fight sooner than later. You know, he's not going to really be paying these guys he's not going to be giving them too many tune-up fights. You know, they've already had one. They've already had one, right? These young guys, Haney, Teofimo, Ryan, and Rolly, they all had little fights, set-up fights. So he's going to expect something big from them. So I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a fight, you know, Devin Haney next.
I agree.
Now my favorite, Lopez.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw this past Saturday the best laid plans being unfurled and essentially dissolved by the PBC events where they were trying to set up a Charlo plant fight. We're going to talk about that. Don't forget, fellas, to call in. There's the morning call-in show. This is your show. You guys get to call in, give us your thoughts on anything and everything boxing. Jay Perez says it would be a boring fight. Talking about Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney. Ignorant Boxing says Teofimo has to do an oil party with Turkey now or no fight. He has to go out of the Turkey free cuffs, is what he's saying. One foot out the door says Haney doesn't deserve the fight. Now, what about that, Sobers? I mean, if you could choose the route for Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, would you give Devin Haney a big fight?
Well, he's I mean, me personally, no, but he's a name in the sport. You know, he's somewhat. His name has some pull still. You know what I mean? They're still promoting him well. He's still a name, so he's gonna get a big fight. He's gonna get a fight. You know that it's gonna be worth something, right? So what I would do is put him in a fight that's hard and not give him any more of these bullshit Jose Ramirez fights where he's bigger than the opponent, he's fighting an older guy, where he's just completely outmatching his opponents. So, you know, he does deserve a fight. He deserves a fight that he can lose.
Well, in terms of the build-up, it would certainly be an interesting fight. You have Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, two guys who have history already of jawing at each other, both in public and in person and via Twitter. Also, you have two egomaniacs in their fathers, Teofimo Lopez Sr. and Bill Haney. They would be going at it too, you would assume, in the press conference. So that would create for the Tampa hijinks that excited some people in the build-up to Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. Unfortunately, that stylistic matchup might not exactly live up to said hype because Teofimo Lopez is a guy that's the book on him. He doesn't know how to cut the ring off. And though he looked very good against Barboza, as a lot of us expected him to, or I mean, looking good in terms of clearly winning the fight, when some people were saying that he was going to lose or look bad in, because they were saying, "Oh, Barboza is a counterpuncher, and Teofimo Lopez doesn't do well against counterpunchers." It's not necessarily that Lopez doesn't do well against counterpunchers; is that he doesn't do well with counterpunchers who are fast. And Barboza wasn't fast; he certainly wasn't. Devin Haney, on the other hand, we saw how he stunk the joint out in the City of Wolves. So, if that's how he was fighting against Benavidez, you have to wonder how's he going to fight against Teofimo Lopez. And if he back foot bitches it again, and employs the ass style in full effect, that's going to be, I don't know if the Sheik is going to like that. I don't know if the Sheik is willing to spend that much money on that. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see what happens.
I don't know if he would allow that. I mean, I don't know if he would have signed that fight without having a conversation with them, beforehand, saying, "Hey, I'm paying you too much for this little bullshit. For to be running around, bring around the rosy bitch."
Yeah, we'll see, man, because he's yeah.
And no, I was saying, like, the reason why I'm saying that is because, like I was saying earlier, like, the United States, he's the athletic commission in Riyadh, so it's his way, or it's his way or the highway.
Wait a minute.
So I can't
you
see him pressuring these fighters behind closed doors.
Are you suggesting he's the judge, jury, and executioner? Is that what you're trying to get to, Sobers? Are you still trying to allude to the fact that maybe he just goes, yeah. All right. Well, there you go. I mean, that's what we've got with Teofimo Lopez. They're still jawing, still changing his mind. I got to tell you, I don't know how well this bodes for Teofimo Lopez's career. The fact that he can't control himself. He's just going at it. This bodes for Teofimo Lopez's career.
There's something there, right? There's a pattern.
Sorry about that.
BD, I try to say this a lot. You gotta see the pattern recognition with people, and Teofimo seems to do bad business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If whether it's him or it's his dad, I don't know what it is. They have problems with Top Rank. They have problems with Canelo. Now they have problems with Turkey. Like, anybody they try to get into it with, it just doesn't seem to work out the best.
You're right, man, and that's the other thing I was going to say is, would the Haney-Teofimo Lopez fight even happen? Because Haney is a guy who's notorious for stalling negotiations. He didn't want to accept the terms initially against Kambosos, and it took Lomachenko accepting all of them and essentially trumping and making Haney look bad before Haney said, I'll take the same deal. If it wasn't for Putin, I've said it before, Devin Haney should get on his knees and slobber all over Putin's cannon and thank him for the fact that he started a war that it essentially attracted and distracted Lomachenko from boxing. Because if it wasn't for that, Lomachenko's the one who would have traveled to Australia. He would have stopped Kambosos. None of that back foot bitching, clinching shit. And Haney never would be able to call himself undisputed champion. Or maybe he would have, because they would have still given them the decision against Lomachenko. And then against Lomachenko, he was also unwilling to accept the terms early on, according to Mike Compinger. Lomachenko signed the deal almost immediately, whereas Haney's side were still trying to iron things out. And then with Lopez's side, almost the same thing. He's constantly strifing, like Sobers said, strifing with his promoter, with other boxers, trying to get out of his contract. If it wasn't for his specialist,
he didn't work well with Triller.
There you go. Oh yeah, remember that the tantrum he threw after losing to Kambosos, throwing everybody and anybody under the bus. So I don't know if the Sheik has the patience to withstand these two divas in negotiations. I don't know.
I seen his legs last. I seen his legs last. I seen his legs last. I seen his legs.
I gotta tell you though, credit to Teofimo Lopez. You just never know what he's gonna do next. That is one thing that's almost exciting, It's like, well, what's this fucker gonna say next? What's he gonna do next? I don't know. Showbiz, would you be surprised if all of a sudden you see him on Instagram Live and he's standing in front of the White House and he's holding a gun and he looks inebriated? He's talking about like, all right, what am I gonna do next? What am I gonna do next? Would you be surprised if that happens one day?
No, maybe not.
There you go.
Maybe in a couple of years after he's a little more punch drunk.
Yeah, you just never know now, do you? Like I said, I'm excited, fellas. Don't forget to call in. I had forgotten to put the phone number on the screen, but there it is, right there in the middle left hand portion of your screen. Call in. This is your
Take
show.
your coffee, yeah. I'm
trying to, but I mean, I started this thing rather quickly, and I don't get caffeinated enough from the get go. But there is a number. Eventually, I was going to put it up. Now, speaking of what happened in boxing, I didn't get a chance to talk about this. Butcher did a post-fight show immediately after the fights, but we did have some fights. This past Saturday, an upset. And it is a true upset. When Mr. BDA fails to see it, that means it's a big upset. I usually give the underdog a chance to win. I can see a path of success for the underdog. This time, I didn't really see it. But shows you what I know about boxing. Armando Resendiz. What was that?
I said, I stayed on code the whole time, BDA. It was a glorious victory.
Yeah, I heard that supposedly you placed a bet and this and that. And while I was hearing you talking about it, I'm thinking, bullshit. I mean, didn't really sound.
I didn't place any bets, but I was calling Resendiz for the upset.
Well, I mean, before we get into that, he ended up winning by a split decision, excuse me. 2 scores of 116, 112, 1 score of 115, 113 for Plant, which was overridden, obviously, by the 2 other judges. So, people are making a big deal out of this. That is Caleb Plant finished as a fighter? Was he done as a fighter, and that's what Resendiz won, or was Caleb Plant overrated? Well, what's your take on this?
I don't think Caleb Plant was overrated. After the fight and the post-fight press conference, he was talking about, okay, so as we were watching the fight, there's one thing that we were noticing, the dude's stamina, right? He looked gassed after the 4th round, 5th round. And there's a couple rounds where he was completely clinching almost half the round, right? Like he was taking a combination and holding. So his stamina just looked completely shot. And in the post-fight press conference, he was talking about how he's in the best shape he could have been. He's been focusing on nothing but cardio, running this whole camp. And that's it. That's all he had. He offered no excuses. He said he was in the best shape he could have been in. So, he just might be near the tail end of his career. And, all those snack steroids.
Oh, wait a minute.
Starting to catch up with him.
Alleged steroids.
No, I mean, every round, every punch he took, his hair looked thinner and thinner. So
he was losing hair. Yeah, I heard that. Somebody was saying on Saturday's show that Caleb Plant's hair was thinning with every round. He was losing weight. I was like,
yeah, thinning every round, exactly.
What are you saying? He's like he was going to end up like Tom Hanks by the end of 12 rounds. Tom Hanks in Philadelphia. Are you suggesting that he might have some sort of disease? Autoimmune disease. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Brought directly as a side effect of the neck.
Well, you know what? Jimmy would probably be better equipped to talk about that. Some of the ill effects that could potentially arise from PED use. All I'll say is Caleb Plant certainly didn't age well. He's only 32, I think. That's what they said. He turned 32 a while back, a couple of months ago. Now, recently, in other words. But his stamina certainly didn't live up to a fighter of his caliber. Now,
yeah, hair like a 42.
Come on. But Abner Mares did point out early in the telecast or in the fight that Resendiz's game was probably to take Caleb Plant into deep waters because Caleb Plant's stamina was never really all that. And, he had a point. Caleb Plant did sort of fade against Uzcategui. He also faded against Caleb Truax. Certainly appeared to fade against Canelo and against David Benavidez. So there's something to be said about his stamina. So this talk about him suddenly getting old, I don't know if I completely buy that. But I will say that, like Steve Kim always says, inactivity. Activity matters, and inactivity certainly seems to play a factor in some of these performances, especially from the PBC guys who only get to fight once a year for the most part. Think about it. Caleb Plant had only fought once every year since losing to Canelo in 2021. So he fought once in 2022 against Durrell, once in 2023 losing to Benavidez, and that was relatively early in the year. That was March. So for the rest of 2023, he was on the sidelines. Then in 2024, he has to wait all the way up till September to take on McCollum, and then over a half a year later, takes on Resendiz a couple of days ago and ends up losing. So maybe that played a factor. Maybe, you never know. So he's only. Yeah.
It's the story as old as PBC is. It's the same thing with all their fighters. They sit them on the shelf. They give them bad matchups. They fight once a year, and then what happens? And then they end up, losing fights that they shouldn't be losing.
It's true. And but that's the thing. People are saying, No, you're absolutely right, man. It's a PBC plan. I mean, it happened with Stephen Fulton. It's happened to the Charlos, Demetrius Andrade. These dudes don't fight for over a year, and that must affect them in some way. It just has to. But that's the other thing, though. Credit does have to go to Resendiz because usually when an upset happens, we tend to focus on, well, what did the favorite not do for him to end up losing the fight? But Resendiz showed up in shape. He wasn't fighting in middleweight anymore, which is where he lost to Elijah Garcia, which, by the way, is still amazing to me now in hindsight that Elijah Garcia, who's looked awful since beating Resendiz, ended up stopping that dude. And now this guy comes in here and beats Plant. But yeah, man, but shout out to Resendiz. He showed good timing, a good jab. He out-jabbed Caleb Plant throughout the fight. I don't know if that's what CompuBox showed, but that's what I saw in the fight. That's what my eyes told me. And he was whacking Caleb Plant to the body, emasculating him in front of Caleb Plant's wife, pregnant wife on top of that. I don't know if, biological or something, when a pregnant woman sees her husband being emasculated like that and she's pregnant, I don't know if she starts to take on the characteristics of the guy.
The baby is now a girl.
Come on. Oh, man.
It was going to be a boy, now it's a girl.
But let's talk a little bit about the performance, too, of not the fighters. I'm talking about Harvey Dock, the referee who allowed Caleb Plant to clinch his way to the 12 rounds. He was also warning Resendiz. People always say that, sobers, well, if one guy clinches, it's up to the other guy to do something about it. Well, Resendiz was trying to do something about it. He was putting his head on Plant's chest, trying to push forward, and Harvey Dock warned him about it, but never warned deducted a point from Caleb Plant. The only one he warned was Resendiz, and quite forcibly so, for trying to be dirty back against Caleb Plant. And he warned him, he gave him a big lecture, even went over to his corner after that said round and started lecturing him. And shout out to somebody in your Discord, sorry, I forget who it was, but they posted this picture. I think it was Pounce. Look at this. This is Harvey Dock racing Resendiz's hands after they announced the decision. Look at the look.
Very upset.
Look at that look of disgust that he's giving Resendiz, like, you fucking spick. He kept his gloves on. He kept those latex or whatever is
You don't want to touch him with his skin.
You know what? I think I even saw him, again, don't quote me on this, whatever, but I think I saw him put an extra pair of gloves on just to have the less contact, the better. When touching Resendiz. What do you think about this? What did you think about Harvey Dock's performance or lack thereof?
Okay, I think Harvey Dock also was the referee in the Benavidez fight?
No, that was Kenny Bayless. But can I say something real quick?
Okay.
He was the referee for Tevin Farmer, the first fight between Cepeda and Tevin Farmer, and he allowed Tevin Farmer to clinch throughout the fight, never took a point, never warned him about it. But when the Karen rematched Jaron Ennis, and the Karen was holding in that fight, he had no qualms about deducting a point from the Karen. So it's selective, selective enforcement of the rules.
Well, I was gonna say too, this referee was Caleb Plant was throwing low blows, and he didn't act like he didn't see those. At one point, I thought he was gonna take a point from Resendiz. He pulled him he separated them, and he went to the corner and made them retape his glove. But I seriously thought they were about to take a point from him, and it really looked. It didn't even look like anything was wrong with his glove. It looked like he just wanted to give Caleb Plant a rest, like a breather, real quick. So there was some strange behavior with the referee. I don't like it, and I even made a joke that Caleb Plant was going to win by split decision, and he almost did.
Harvey Dock seems like the type of guy to me. He turns on Fox News and he gets a hard-on when he sees the numbers of how many illegal immigrants they're deporting back to Honduras. But no, you're right, though. Even the commentators, the Amazon BBC commentators were saying that when they sent him back to his corner to get the tape put on his gloves, Resendiz that is, they thought that he was going to deduct a point. So they were expecting that. In fact, when Harvey Dock went over to Resendiz's corner after he warned him about the headbutts, one of Resendiz's cornermen said, this guy just wants to take a point away from us. And who was it? Manny Robles? Resendiz's trainer said, don't headbutt him. They're looking to take a point away from us. So they knew
right.
what game they were playing. But it is interesting, Sobers, because, Harvey Duck aside and his incompetence or corruption aside, the story of the day, of course, was that Caleb Plant ended up losing a fight. He'd given Canelo a decent fight. He won at, generously. I think you could give him, if you were super generous, you can give him 5 rounds against David Benavidez. He won the distance against him. So you would figure, okay, he's only lost to 2 very good fighters. He's going to beat Resendiz, and that didn't happen. And now people are saying that perhaps he was overrated. Not only that he was shot, but that he was overrated. Vinny Paz, not the boxer, the rapper. Vinny Paz, a.k.a. Box Cutter Pazzi, a.k.a. Icon, the Verbal Hologram, and also a huge boxing fan, had this to say on Twitter. I think he made a good point. He said, Caleb Plant's best win is over Jose Uzcategui 6 years ago. Pre-pandemic, by the way.
Can you read it in his voice, BDA?
Caleb's Plant best win. No, okay. I can do it. I'd have to throw I'd have to throw a bunch of homosexual slurs out there as well. But he said, being a member of a boxing cult has some of you maniacs calling fighters great and special when they're neither great nor special. You're also, for some reason, hypnotized by guys who attempt to implement an athletic or slick style, even when said style can easily be bested by a solid guy with a nice short 1-2 high guard / tucked elbows and a pair of balls to walk through the fire. Celebrating sizzle instead of steak is nasty work. Do you agree with Pack Pistol Pazzi? So
yeah, I think he wanted to say some other stuff in there instead of slick, but I think we
come on.
we bring that up a lot.
Wait a minute. Are you saying he wanted to call him liquor?
I think we bring it up a lot here, bro.
Are you saying he wanted to
see a little bit of speed? Go ahead.
Yeah, he's saying he wanted to say liquor style. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
He's like, you guys just want to fight in this liquor style.
Come on. But
no, but I was gonna say though, but like we bring it up a lot here, that people get they see someone like Deron Ennis, they see some speed, they see the skirt, they see the tassels on his nipples, on his ankles, and they think that they just think that he's a supreme master technician, and it's like that's not what it is. It's not what it is at all. You just see some speed and you assume.
That's an excellent point, Solvers. I think it's an excellent point because I've said it before as well, so that's why I'm agreeing with you so much or so vehemently.
Exactly,
no, but it's true. It's true. I mean, people think, and by the way, Caleb Plant is from the Mayweather school wannabe. Mayweather wannabe school. He's one of those generation guys who came around the time Mayweather was still active and they were trying to recreate his style, and it just doesn't bode well, especially as you start getting older. It really does. I mean, the reason why it worked so well with Mayweather, in part, was because Mayweather was so fast and physically gifted. And although Plant is quick, he's nowhere near as gifted with his reflexes as Floyd Mayweather. So I think that Mayweather style is on the outs. And we're starting to see people like Bam Rodriguez, and even to a certain extent, Jermall Charlo is being a little bit more aggressive. No longer trying to imitate Floyd Mayweather's ass style, punch shotting, clinching, running around the ring for 30 seconds. And by the way, that was the new Mayweather style, but he also showed it when he was in his prime, like he did against Carlos Baldomir. So I'm glad that style is going out of vogue. By the way, fellas, don't forget to hit the like. Really helps us out. There's a BDA morning show, the BDA calling morning show. So make sure to call in. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to 832. 832, you're on the air. 832, what's on your mind?
Yo, what's up, BDA? This is Elian. That's on the Discord. I was going to say, I really thought Plant, first of all, to begin, the inactivity, I think, was a huge factor in coming in, especially when your stamina is like that and you're a first-half fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And then second of all, it does not help to go against a Mexican who can really dig to the body, like Resendiz. I think that kind of really exposed him out there. Same with his inside fighting. In his last fight against McCollum, he got lucky that McCollum was very unexperienced, did not have a very good corner and a very good staff that could tell him or advise him on how to move on from that kind of change in style. And even the whole commentators were glazing him, talking about his great changes, his great downloading data, like he's Lomachenko.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that shit was funny, and it proved to, even when he tried being on the inside, it just proved how wrong he was, because Resendiz would just rip him even more to the body.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see where Plant does from this, because, again, every time he kind of steps up to that level, he loses. Against Benavidez, like you said, I would give him around five rounds. But it was a competitive fight nonetheless. However, Benavidez also doesn't hit that hard in comparison to Canelo or maybe even Resendiz. Our good from this is his style is not very lucrative, and I don't know how much more he's going to be able to do. Especially, I think the promoters and everyone started liking him as a person and forgot more of how ass his style is. And to note on that on the ref, I was exactly feeling that same kind of way, especially because as soon as he would do something, he would tell him, but Caleb Plant was able to clinch the whole fucking round and hit low blows. It was kind of weird. It's kind of the A-side thing, as well as I'm not sure if Resendiz or his coach complained to Bayless before the fight even started, because I know you can do that, to have him keep an eye out on that. And it was funny because even his coach was like, they're not going to want to give you this fight, and it ended up being a split decision. Additionally, you have David Sutherland, who keeps on boxing these big events when he has had many controversial outings. David Sutherland is known to be a horrible judge. However, the PBC keeps him on its payroll for huge events like this, especially ones with world titles. I don't understand it.
That's a great point. What's the name of the judge? Just repeat that.
Actually, was it Bailey? Felix?
David Sutherland, you said, right?
Oh, yeah, sorry, David Sutherland, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm glad you brought that name up, man, because I was trying to look for it, but BoxRec doesn't let you unless you sign in to their website. But yeah, okay, David Sutherland, I'm glad you brought that name up, because that dude giving the fight to Caleb Plant, and look, it was a competitive fight, but Resendiz surged on after the latter half of the fight. So I don't understand what that dude was looking at, but I'm glad you called out the judge, because we need to start calling these guys out. The referees, the judges, make boxing great again. And it starts with the foundation of enforcing the rules and actually having competent judges watching and judging these fights. Otherwise, all that talk about making boxing great again and, the Sheik is going to do great things, none of that's going to work if the product sucks. So Elian, I'm glad you brought that up. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
Nah, salute all y'all. Thank you.
Salute, Elian. Thank you for calling in, man. Take it easy. Yeah, excellent point right there from Elian. By the way, don't forget to hit the like. Really helps us out. There's a BD morning show. Call in. The phone number's right there in the left and middle portion of your screen. And you know what? Elian said something interesting, Solvers. He said that a lot of people were talking about Caleb Plant, how likable he is. Oh, he's a liar. And it's true. It's when you're entering a fight and they're talking about how likable the guy is, I think that might be a bit of a problem. Also, I don't know if it's just me, Sobers, but ever since Caleb Plant slapped Jermall Charlo in 2023 at the Crawford-Spence event, it seems like a lot more people ended up liking him, which just sort of goes to prove what we've been saying all along, that the United States is a racist country. A lot of people seem to enjoy the white man, Caleb Plant, physically assaulting somebody like he was working for him. He slapped Jermall Charlo as if the guy was working for him. It's like, hey, get back in the fields there.
Like he was a help. He was like, I didn't know why I said sunny side up. Oh,
exactly. Yeah, and people were like, man, Caleb Plant's a real one. I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't like the racial connotations of
the real one. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't know.
You've seen this term going around, right, BDA, on social media, and I'm even seeing YouTube videos about it. People are calling it black fatigue.
Oh yeah. That term's been going around for a while now.
So maybe that's where maybe Caleb Plant had enough, and he decided to do something about it.
Well, I mean, we've said it before. We've said it since this channel started. Boxing is a racist institution. No ifs and buts about it. I mean, it is what it is. They never give
this dude Caleb Plant.
Yes.
I'm sorry, BD, I cut you off.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I was gonna say this dude Caleb Plant's like a why people. Well, I was gonna say to why people say that he's likable and stuff. He's somewhat of a chameleon.
Mm-hmm.
He he blends in with different cultures. You know, he has the half black, half white wife. You know, so he's invited to the barbecue. He's from Mississippi or like Louisiana or some shit. So he's from the South. He has a little bit of a Southern drawl. But then he also dresses like a cholo, and he rides around in the lowriders.
That's
so
right.
all the Mexicans like him too. So he's a bit. I don't want to say he's a culture vulture, but I'm saying like he kind of blends in with everybody. It looks like.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. By the way, I wouldn't necessarily say that his wife is Afro-Anglo. I mean, if you show, whenever I see her, I'm thinking, what, is she mulatto or Brazilian or something? I have expect her to start dancing samba or something every time I see her. So, but you're right though. He's a man. He's a jack of all trades when it comes to ethnicities and other cultures. But by the way, I wanted to show this clip here because Boxcutter Pazzi, aka Vinny Paz, said that Killer Plant was a little bit overrated, and then somebody said, "I don't think he was ever that overrated. I think maybe just a couple of people, but not the establishment as a whole."
And that was.
And then Boxcutter Pazzi replied with this Instagram post. This is from the PBC's Instagram account, and it was posted a week before this event. Check this out. This is them. This is the PBC talking about Caleb Plant. Hold on a second. Here we go. What makes Caleb Plant so special?
It's a dog.
So right off the bat, they have to start with
He's a dog.
He's got that dog. Forget about his skills, man.
That's so stupid, bro.
Hold on. Why did you sound like Dog the Bounty Hunter there? He's a dog, bruh.
That's the only thing that's what comes to mind when people say that. He's the dog.
This shit ain't nothing to me, man. I'm a dog. I'm a dog.
That's when you know they got nothing to say. He's got that. He just got that dog.
Seriously. When someone tells me that, when I say, "Why do you like this fighter?" or "Why do you think he's gonna win?" Why do you think Crawford's gonna beat Canelo? I've asked so many people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. He's just different, man. It's nothing new to him, you know. He's got that dog. I'm like, all right, bro.
He's got. Bucho was telling me about that. Tay Atlas. Crawford just has that X factor. It's like, all right, way to break it down there, Mr. Expert. He's got that X factor. They can't quantify. They can't qualify anything. They just go, he has that dog. He's just special. He knows how to adapt. And it's the same thing here. British Jimmy. We haven't seen him in a while on the YTVC, but shout out to him because he's the one that he used to go to all these channels and particularly LDBC channels in the build-up to Spence versus Crawford. And a lot of these guys were picking Spence. They were Spence fans. And when he would ask them, well, why are you picking Spence over Crawford? And they would go, Spence just has that dog. He just got that dog. It's like, what does that mean? It's like, he has that dog.
Exactly.
But anyway, let's keep hearing what the experts, so-called experts, had to say about Caleb Plant and what makes him so good.
What makes Caleb Plant so good is his hand speed.
Oh, they got Sean Zittel, as some people call him Cock Zittel. He identifies with Caleb Plant.
Foot speed, sharp skills, sharp
stand
punches.
that dude.
I mean, would it kill him to comb his hair a little bit? I mean, I'm not saying put some.
Get a fucking haircut and get some fucking facial cleanser. He looks like a low polygon character, like a PlayStation character. With all those like weird ridges in his face.
I mean, it's completely unnecessary to start talking about his appearance or sobers, but I get what you're saying. And so he's saying Caleb Plant is the skills, the speed.
He's a good combination puncher, intelligent fighter, and a fighter with heart too, to go on top of all that sauce and swag he has in the ring with
the sauce and the swag.
Did he say his swag?
That's right. I didn't know we were back in 2015.
He said sauce and swag?
That's right.
Get out of here, bro.
He's using the word swag. I didn't know we were back in 2015 there, Sovers. I thought it was 2025. He's using the word swag. Sauce and swag. At least he didn't, those Sovers, at least he didn't say the shake and bake. I hear a lot of boxing people use that term.
He got that sauce, he got that swag, he got that shake and bake, baby. That's all that was missing, right?
He's got the sauce, he's got the 10 secret spices. Like, what are you talking about, man? See, again, that's when they got nothing to say. He just threw everything out there. He's got the skills, he's got the combinations, the speed, the power, The
he got
athleticism,
the
IQ.
sauerkraut. He got all the condiments.
Exactly. Yeah. Tell me he's got the sweet and sour sauce. He's got the chicken chow mein. It's like, okay, come on, man. And that's what they
He's
cut
a hot
out. By the
dog,
way.
baby.
Yeah, I do wonder how much stuff they cut out from this segment. This is what they left in, by the way. But how much did they cut out?
That was the best part. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He was reading through a Chinese menu. He was reading through a Chinese takeout menu.
General Tso's, Jesse Rodney.
Earl Stevens in the chat says, Zittel voted for Kamala. Ah, come on. Oh,
Clearly.
man. I mean, I don't know, man.
Foot speed and hand speed.
He just brings it every time in every fight. You've seen in recent years when the competition gets tough, he gets even tougher.
I think a lot of
Okay, hold on. When the competition gets tough, he gets even tougher. Is that even true?
Say that again.
He said when we've seen it before. This dude said from Ring Magazine, when the competition gets tough, he gets tougher.
No, that's just saying that, that's just another way of saying he's got that dog,
Yeah. Yeah, you know what?
He doesn't get tougher. He gets a lot more affectionate. Actually, he wants to start hugging and getting close to his opponents. So I wouldn't call that tougher. I would call that, like I said, more affectionate.
Opportunist, yeah. And you know what? In fact, I have it on good authority here. Somebody's sending me background. Behind the scenes information. Apparently that dude also used the term dog, but they had to stop him and say, hey, listen, Zittel already used dog, so you're going to have to go with something else. It's fuck.
It's like, shit. Give me the Chinese menu.
give me the Lebanese cuisine menu. He's got the shawarma.
Right.
He's got the shish taouk with the garlic sauce. He just has it all, baby. By the way, Delbo in the chat, aka Blue Collar Sports TV, shout out to him, says Zittel is the cock final boss. Ah, come on. You know what? I'm not gonna have it. I'm not gonna have all this Zittel disrespect. The guy's he puts out good videos. He gets all the interviews, so shout out to him, man. Oh, now we got Marcos Villegas, another one of those YouTube journalists that gets all the access there to the fighters. Let's see what he has to say. Let's see what menu he's reading off.
It is his approach to boxing and his IQ and his understanding to boxing.
He's given arguably Canelo's last greatest fight we've seen, and that was over 4 years ago. Canelo hasn't had as great of a performance as he did against Plant, and I think that just goes to show you where Plant's level is and where Canelo has gone.
Wait a minute. The dude gets knocked out and they're giving... hold on, I don't get it. They're saying he gave Canelo his last great performance, and that shows how good Caleb Plant is. How is he that good if that was Canelo's best, most dominant performance in the last 5 years?
If Canelo looks spectacular knocking you out.
Canelo sexually had his way with Caleb Plant.
Good for him?
Yeah, Canelo had his way with Caleb Plant sexually. That just speaks volumes about Caleb Plant's dogness. It's like, what? I don't understand. I don't think they gave these guys much time to prepare, man. I think maybe they were filming something else and they said, hey, while we got you here, why don't you just talk about Caleb Plant because he's got a fight coming up. By the way,
when your boys are done cleaning up all that liquor back there, maybe we'll come up here and have a boxing talk with us, right?
Yeah, they liquored them up, is what you're saying.
From there,
he's seen as a very good, technically sound boxer who's slick, who knows how to control the ring.
And he has one of the best jabs in boxing.
Wow, look at that shotgun jab, dude.
Yeah, look at those little taps there from 7 years ago against
He can't even snap the guy's head back.
He actually, I think he actually hurt his hands in that fight. Oh man! Even the referee, look at the referee. He's like, "What the fuck was that?" I thought you were a professional boxer.
So I think all of that together puts together, one of the best super middleweight fighters in the world.
He can win in every way possible, right? Where he can
damn, I can't stand that guy.
Someone like a former world champion, Anthony Durrell. He could dominate someone like McCollum and make it a fun fight.
Right to the body by Plant, left uppercut to the jaw.
I wouldn't call that fight domination. Didn't he get knocked down twice?
I think even 3 times, right? But one of them wasn't called or something?
Yeah. I want to call that domination. He kind of went life and death with him And as soon as he got him hurt, referee jumped in and stopped it.
By the way, that referee there that you're seeing there, that's another dude. He refereed a fight on the Zone on Friday, and that's another guy. I don't even know his name, but I'm gonna look it up because that's another dude that beware of him. He's gonna screw up some fights in the future. He's one of those. He's from the Joe Cortez school of referees, where you have to know who I am in this fight. You're gonna know who I am at the end of the fight. He's gonna let it be known that he's a referee. He's not playing around. Like you have expect him to start getting into it with the boxers too, throwing down. But I'm gonna look up his name. But
combinations.
Yeah, exactly. Kicking, showing that swag, that shake and bake.
That's sauce.
That's that's sauce.
McCollum on the pro. Let's listen in, man. The trash talking carrying over, fans enjoying it.
I think a very underrated aspect of Caleb is his mental warfare approach to boxing, how he's able to kind of get under the skin of people.
I mean, that's not mental warfare necessarily. If there's some intelligence behind it, maybe that's what it is. Maybe I would understand, but essentially it's just trash talking that he does. And I don't see this big psychological warfare thing going on. So you can see they're reaching a little bit here. You can see they're reaching majorly. I went from slightly to majorly, but whatever.
Of his opponents, trolled him a bit.
Then shut the fuck up and quit interrupting. This dude ain't scared. He's so mad. You're not gonna do nothing.
He's definitely belongs at the world level. He's been there for the longest time, and this is an appetizer for another big fight for him.
Well, that obviously didn't happen. But there you go. Like people in the chat. What are people in the chat saying? David Marino says Planet gave Canelo the best BJ of his life. That has to be stated, to be honest. Why are people making it sexual? What's going on here? JC says...
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, I don't remember that part, man. Believe me, I would remember it. I would rewatch it over and over. JC says the cocking is next... JC says the cocking is next level. Yeah, I know they have to big up the fighter that's going to be fighting on their network, but I mean, come on, man. Don't these guys have a reputation to uphold or something? Or maybe they don't care. I don't know. But that's the other thing too, Sobers, is how many of these guys that you see on YouTube, on these boxing channels that interview boxers, how many of them, I've said it before, want to be in the Larry Merchant position? They want to be on the telecast. They want to have their faces there. And I don't know why they would do that, man. It's not that fun a job. You don't get to say what you want. Now you got to go to, first of all, you got to go to prep meetings before that. You got to go over the script of what you're going to talk about, the fighter meetings. Or maybe they do enjoy that. I don't know. But I have to suspect, knowing human nature, that a lot of these guys just want to have their faces plastered on the telecast. What do you think?
Well, I mean, just look at guys like Southpaw Lefty. He was bragging about having dinner with Larry Merchant and sharing a room, sleeping head to toe with Steve Kim.
No,
you know what I mean?
Man,
so
come on, man.
These little experiences that these guys get, it's worth more than money to them. So,
first of all, Southpaw Lefty is a veteran. I'm pretty sure he's not a stolen valor guy. I don't think he'd lie about that. He served his country while you were out there banging co-eds, and he's not even a journalist anymore. He just mentions.
Yeah, what was I thinking?
He just casually mentions all the interviews he used to do. But these dudes they're in another world, man. They're in another stratosphere. And you know, this is why they say the things they say in these telecasts or these little clips here, because they're just thinking about the next job, and that the possibility that the next job might just be on a DAZN telecast or on a PBC telecast or whatever it may be. So, I mean, it's just, yeah, like people were saying in the chat, the glazing. Earl Stevens says, Caleb Plant is on Zoo all of a sudden. Yeah. I mean, listening to these guys talk about him, you would think he's in the top 10 pound for pound. It's amazing. It's really amazing listening to this. Fellas, don't forget to hit like. This is the BDA Boxing Morning Call-In Show. And yeah, make sure to call in, give us your thoughts on anything and everything boxing. Speaking of Caleb Plant here, just one last thing on him. His trainer, Stephen Bradman Edwards, you know, he looked like a decent trainer from Philadelphia, you know, renowned fight town. And he seemed to be doing some good work with Caleb Plant. After the fight, though, he sort of started intimating that Caleb Plant didn't manage his training camp properly. He was going on and on about it for 5 minutes, which is weird. You usually don't see a trainer blaming his fighter for a loss. And then I was listening to the ringside reporter. Shout out to Beebs. And I always forget that the other guy's name. He's a Hispanic guy. Or I think he's Hispanic. He's got a Hispanic sounding name. Anyway, they were talking about
the one who wears lipstick.
No, okay. First of all, you're talking about the guy you told who wore lipstick one day. Well, you're talking about D-Style. I'm talking about the ringside reporter.
Oh.
And by shout out to D-Style too, by the way. He's got a good show too. But don't pay attention to Sober's bullying. He's a bully through and through. He bullies women online. He just bullies everybody. But
I bully women online.
Yeah, you're a meanie, is what you are. But on Ringside Reporter's show yesterday, they were talking about how Breadman was also training Kyron Davis on that same card. Kyron Davis ended up losing to Hernandez, the new Cuban sensation. And apparently Breadman was talking about how, oh yeah, Kyron Davis, he went through a rough patch. I actually had to lend him some money. And I'm thinking, you don't put that out. They were saying that too.
Wow.
You don't put that out there that you lent the guy money, that he's doing bad, he's in depression, he's a premature ejaculator. I was like, well, why are you putting all that out there? Sobers, I started getting John David Jackson vibes. You remember John David Jackson, Kovalev's former trainer, who ended up airing out all the dirty laundry, which allowed Andre Ward to beat Kovalev. What do you think? What do you think about this approach from Breadman? Is he trying to save face a little bit here for Caleb Plant's loss, or what's going on?
Well, look, first and foremost, you would be a fool. You would be a fool to trust anybody with a name like that, with Breadman, Dollar Bill. You know what I'm saying? Anything they're recording, anything referencing money, they're telling you that's their name. You don't trust that person.
That's a great point, man. You're right.
Just right off the bat, they should know better with that. But then, talking about lending fighters money and all that, like that's a weird thing, bro. No one cares about you. No one's there to see you. No one's there to. They don't even let you listen in between rounds anymore. So the judges, whatever, the trainers are almost non-existent in our eyes until before and after the fight, for the most part now. And that's just a weird thing to try to bring attention to yourself, try to make yourself look better like that. You know what I mean? But like I said, you can't trust nobody. His name is Breadman. Like, come on.
You're
bread,
right, man.
I get that bread, man.
That's that. You know what, man? Sobers really does hit the nail on the head when he hits it, man. Because it's true. I didn't even understand the financial connotation of that name, the bread, man. Like, I got that bread, I got that sauce, I got that swag. You're right.
I get bread, man. So much bread, man. They call me bread, man. You know what I'm saying, VDA?
I got
Can't trust somebody like that.
You're absolutely right, man. Bread. It's like, imagine a Mexican trainer, the tortilla guy. The tortilla, man. It doesn't make any sense. It's why you're giving yourself a food name, first of all, and also, like you said, the connotation there of the financial exponent, or what's the word I'm looking for here? The financial, the riches in his life, the opulence, and I'm thinking, yeah, listen, I don't know why I got a little bit of that John David Jackson vibe. You will also recall that John David Jackson had Randall Bailey, the murderous puncher, as his fighter. And I believe he was Bailey when he was fighting Mike Jones. And he was losing that fight because he just refused to let his hands go. And John David Jackson was imploring him to let the hands go. And then at some point, he got so exacerbated by Bailey's lack of activity that he left him. During the fight, he left. He just went backstage. And then Bailey scored a knockout win. And then all of a sudden, John David Jackson said, hey, I told you, man. I told you could do it. I mean, I don't know. It's these guys, like you said, they have to be in front of they want people to know who they are as trainers, but then it's a catch-22 because now when your fighter loses, people know who you are now, and they're going to associate that loss with you, and a lot of these guys are very sensitive about their reputation. And I think maybe that's what's going on with Breadman. I don't know. I'd hate to think that way, but it was weird. Yeah, he's talking about, oh yeah, I lent Kyron Davis money. I taught him how to eat pussy. He didn't know how to bang women until I taught him. It's like, I don't know. It's a little weird. Blue Collar Sports TV says he's also one of these clowns who likes to overcomplicate the sport. Well, I'm not going to go as far as calling Breadman clown because I don't even know if it was really in the wrong in this one. But he is one of those dudes, I think, who's picking Crawford to beat Canelo. And I think after Ennis beat Stanionis, he's one of those guys that proclaim that Ennis beats Virgil Ortiz, no ifs and buts about it. So he's one of those guys that sort of falls maybe a little bit into that that hype that you were talking about, Sobers. A little bit of flash here and there, a little bit of selective matchmaking here and there, and all of a sudden, this guy's pound for pound already. I'm calling it already. This guy is the pound for pound king. So I don't know. Curious to see what he has to say about it, or more about the Caleb Plant fight later on. But they were talking too about a rematch between Resendiz and Caleb Plant. I don't know if that's going to happen. But by the way, I've been meaning to play this clip here real quick. This is from, speaking of Jaron Ennis, this is from Food TV. He sent me this clip because I told him how how much I like the editing on it. This is Food TV's clip of, well, actually, it's his version of the Ennis post-fight press conference from the Evanesian fight. Go check it out.
I was taking it all in.
Secondary question.
No Diddy. Yo. What'd you say? My bad.
This table's about to jump up in a minute. That's got me really excited.
Oh no.
No Diddy.
Hey, Jaron, two quickies. Over here.
By the way, I like Food TV all of a sudden. He focuses on the most mundane things. He starts focusing on that fucking STD that Jaron Ennis has on his hand there. I don't know where he starts zooming in on that shit. What the fuck's wrong with him, man?
I know, but he does great editing. His clips are funny as hell.
Yeah, man. I don't know, but it's not over yet, man.
Jaron, two quickies. Over here.
I ain't gonna lie, fully drunk right now.
About this moment, fighting here in this.
Fuck, is that a wart?
Everything that you thought would you.
I don't know what that. I don't know if that's a herpes thing or I don't know, man.
Did a frog piss on his hand? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, it was everything. You know, it was everything. You know what? I ain't even gonna say that. I was like, yo, I saw myself as police out. And a month later, did the partnership. Eddie brought me home, you know, and now I did it, you know.
And the second one when that pick.
I mean, shout out to Food TV, man. He just. But by the way, what the fuck is that music, man? Every time the gay shit starts, he starts the music, man.
You know what? I ain't even gonna say that. I was like, yo, I saw myself as police out. And a month later.
I think that's actually Food TV singing in the background. I don't know. I'd have to ask him.
Might be.
I'm gonna ask him if he made that track. But yeah, shout out to Food TV. Keeping it real with that editing right there. Hey fellas, don't forget to call in. There's a BD Mox morning show, morning show. You guys get to call in, give us your thoughts on anything and everything boxing. We still haven't even scratched the surface of everything we're supposed to be talking about here. So we spent a lot of time talking about Lopez, Caleb Plant. The surprise of the night for me, I don't know about you, Sobers, but it was how good Jermall Charlo looked. And by the way, I don't usually say this. I don't usually encourage fighters to retire. But Cornflake Lamana, a.k.a. Fitch Lamana, he should just retire, man. If you can't beat a half-drunk Jermall Charlo, who's only fought twice in the last 4 years or 5 years, I think it's time to retire. Wouldn't you say so, Sobers?
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that dude, Cornflake. You know, he Oh, look, perfect, bro. Someone described him perfectly. Thank you for so I think this was Kangaroo Carl who said this. You know that guy Fight Sport Talk?
Mm-hmm.
He might be in the chat right now. right? And
Shout out
if
to
you
FST.
imagine him, if you could just imagine him in your head, you know, the closest thing that would come to him would be Cornflake, that fighter.
Ah, come on.
Right? So I imagine he looks something like that, right? And his boxing opinions are probably the same.
Ah, jeez.
So
You know what?
yeah, that guy doesn't. If they're letting you, if they're calling you Cornflake, you're obviously like a low level. You know, it sounds like the first guy you fight in Mike Tyson's Punch Out. You know, oh, here comes Cornflake. You know what I mean? You're like, get the fuck out of here. He should not be boxing. If Jermall Charlo, you're saying Jermall Charlo looked good. I don't think he looked good, BDA. I think he was throwing a pretty decent one too. He has like a pretty decent right hand. He throw it pretty straight, but it took a while for the power to really settle in, and he just seemed like listless in there. He seemed heavy-footed. You know, he beat Cornflake, but just showed that this dude's a fucking Cornflake. He's ass. So I don't know how good Jermall Charlo looked in there. I think Resendiz would beat him if they fought each other. You know, I just really think it was just really, really light competition. Because when he got in there with Jose Benavidez Jr., he could have knocked that dude out, and he was expected to knock him out within 1 or 2 rounds. You know, they really had to find a soft-ass, light touch for him to look any kind of good.
Well, there you have it. Never Sober's calling Thomas Lamanna ass-flake Lamanna. And it's true. He fought like ass, man. I mean, this dude... How do you let this Jermall Charlo, this inebriated Charlo who's been getting into it with trannies in the last 4 years instead of getting in the ring, looks horrible against a junior welterweight in Jose Benavidez Jr., who's also one-legged, by the way. He's a peg leg. Long John Silver over here. And he's struggling with him. And then he shows up against Thomas Ass-Flake Lamanna and looks like, well, I mean, he dominated. Maybe you didn't think he looked good, but hey, he dominated, dropped him 3 times, stopped him in the 6th round. How does Thomas Lamanna, I mean, I hate to kick the guy when he's down, but maybe that's what he needs in order to retire, man, because it was a horrible performance from that dude. And then Jermall Charlo, and by the way, Sobers, I don't appreciate you going after FST. It's easy to talk about bad about the guy when he's not here. I want to hear you keep that same energy.
Invite him on the panel.
I'll
tell him to his face.
I just might. Be careful what you ask for.
Perfect.
He often talks about how people wouldn't say that to his face. So he's sort of intimating that there's a physical component that could be occurring. You know, where this conversation.
Well, he might be tall and lanky like Lamanna, you know, but he probably has a little cornflake chin, like his little cornflake feelings, you know.
You know what? Before we continue on with this, let me go to the phone lines here. Let's go to 205. 205, you're on the air. 205, what's on your mind?
Good morning, BDA. What's happening, y'all?
Oh, Uncle Charles calling in early in the morning. What's up, man?
Yes, sir, man. On my way to get away, but I had to drop a gem, you know, before I get on up out of here. Let me tell y'all something, man. That Bruce Ennis, I'm looking at that elephant. I'm looking at that effed up hand he got. That's a good hand. That's a scratch your ass hand. See, some people got regular hands and they can't scratch, but that hand right there, you'll be able to scratch your ass all day. Let me tell you something, man. I can say this about Deontay Wilder, and I want Deontay Wilder to hear me very well. Deontay, you will never win another fight. Just tell you won't win another fight, because how in the hell can you win another fight when the guy that took a dive against you, you made him out your trainer? You will never win another fight. What you need to do is get on the phone with Ted Atlas, a legend in this game. If he don't want you to train, he'll recommend somebody to train. You'll never win another fight. I'm telling you what it is. And that girl that don't ran away from you, she finna get ready to take her head. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Let me say this, and I'm gonna say this in closing. Be careful. My mama used to tell me all the time, a good run is better than a bad stand. Ain't nothing wrong with running. And Lord knows I had to run a lot of nights. I'm going to tell you that right now. But be careful who you mess with. Like that female tiger messing with that lion, that male lion. Every time he got up on her, she screamed, she growled because she was scared. She didn't know how to defend herself. But then she made a sound. And lo and behold, 7 or 8 lions came out of nowhere. And they chewed on his ass like a Thanksgiving dinner. This is what I'm talking about. You don't know who you're messing with out here. And now you got the whole package. You getting your whole ass ate for no reason at all. You could have took your punk ass somewhere else. That's what will happen to you. So I'm gonna get on up out of here, BDA. I got to go to work because last time I was a little late, and then you give me that strange look, and now I got to go kiss my ass just to get back in favor with people. And that's all I got to say. I appreciate you.
All right, shout out to Uncle Charles, who says he's got to go kiss some ass and scratch some ass like Jerron Haney. Shout out to Uncle Charles for his call here. Always good to hear from him. And I'm glad someone's working. Somebody has to. Who's keeping the United States afloat? Nobody's working. We're all here in the morning talking boxing. But shout out to Uncle Charles.
Hey, shit.
I mean, we all contribute in one way or another. But
Scratching our ass, BD8.
I mean, I already scratched it. That's the first thing I do in the morning. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So Charlo, Cornflake Lamina. Now Charlo was chastising Caleb Plant after the fight, saying, hey, what the hell are you doing losing to this guy? Now, there's still a hope. Caleb Plant, by the way, after the fight said he felt he won it. Then he blamed a hand injury for, initially I was going to say Caleb. Initially, I liked that Caleb Plant hadn't made any excuses. He just said, I thought I won, but hey, it is what it is. But then later on, I think I heard him say something about a hand here. Let me see if Caleb Plant believes he beats. I don't know where I saw it, but I heard, maybe somebody can confirm that. But also, here's what I missed, Sobers, because I didn't really care about this event that much to watch the build-up and all that. But they asked Jermall Charlo about a potential Caleb Plant fight prior to the event, and he touched on a couple of things that you were talking about in regards to Plant's chameleon abilities. Check this out.
Caleb Plant should be. I want to fight Caleb. That's the fight that the fans want. That's the fight that needs.
Let me fast forward.
Great or whatever, Hall of Famer. Can't take nothing away from none of these fighters.
Okay.
Caleb Plant himself, he's one of those high guard champions. I mean, but I feel like this one of those fights. Me and Caleb Plant, this would be better right now. At the time, this would be a better fight than a Canelo fight or a Benavidez fight.
But why do you want him so badly? I don't want to speculate for it. Why do you tell the world why you want him so badly?
We got history. He snuck me at the thing. He want to be tough. He want to be, he a culture vulture.
400 years of history.
But did you hear that? He said he's a culture vulture. He called Caleb Plant a culture vulture. Now, isn't that a term that they usually use for a guy who tries to appropriate Afro-Anglo culture?
Yep.
But, I've heard people, I remember when Caleb Plant came on the scene, people were calling him a wigger. But I, like you said, he hangs out with a bunch of cholos. La primera es Patos Locos for life. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. So if he's hanging out with the cholos, I mean, if I would understand calling him a culture vulture if he's hanging out with Afro-Anglos, but he's not. So, what do you think? Is Jermall Charlo going a little bit too far with the culture vulture moniker here, or what do you think?
Some people would call him that. I don't think he's like. I wouldn't really necessarily call him that. Like I was saying, he hangs out with a bunch of different people, and I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's a fake person, right? That's what people like about him. That he doesn't give off that fake person vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is like putting on a big front, like TY. But
are you talking about? Well, I don't even know if you could. His real name for no. Don't say his real name here. But
I was about to be.
No. I mean, listen, he's gonna come after you one of these days, man. Try to put his back against the shower.
Your house, man.
Put my back against the shower wall. We're gonna get it on, baby.
I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna get in it.
And then he's gonna say that you were. When people say, hey, man, why'd you beat up Sobers? Wow, he was only a couple of days short of being 17, man. Come on. But it's interesting.
he was over there trying to tongue wrestle me, and I don't play that.
Exactly. But what was I going to say here? One thing I do like about
I was trying to say about Caleb Plant. I was saying he doesn't really I think he doesn't really give off a vibe that he's faking it, that you can tell off some people, right? So they accept that about him. He slapped the taste out of Jermall Charlo's mouth. You don't really see white guys going around doing that shit. So, you know what I mean? He like, they look at him like he's a real one. So that's why I don't think people really view him as a culture vulture. And he's also like from the South. So, it kind of just rubs off. You know what I mean?
No, you're right, man. That's what I like about Caleb Plant is the fact that he'll let you know if he likes or dislikes you. He's not gonna be fake. He's not gonna fake laugh at people's jokes like I do. You know what I mean? Like he'll actually say, "Hey, listen, man, I hate this guy. Even this dude, I'm a little bit. I don't hate him, but I'm lukewarm towards him." Yeah, that's what I like. I like real. I like genuine emotions and a display of character. So That's one thing that Killer Plant has going for him. Also on this card, Yoeli Hernandez, 168-pound. Now I suspect a soon-to-be contender, if he wasn't already, ends up defeating Kyron Davis by unanimous decision, 10-round unanimous decision on the undercard of that Caleb Plant Resendiz fight. Let me tell you, Hernandez looked like a million bucks in there, man. Pushing Kyron Davis back, dropping him with an uppercut, combinations. Like Zittel said, he's got that sauce, he's got that swagger, and I tend to agree.
Got that sauce.
He's got that sauce. He's got the sweet and sour sauce. What do you think, man? Does he have the ranch barbecue combination to go far at 168 pounds, which is kind of a barren wasteland? What do you think about Yoeli Hernandez?
I think he got 11. I think he got 11 herbs and spices, BDA, all of them. But I was gonna say though, you know how you brought him up earlier, Elijah Garcia, and how he beat Resendiz, and how Kyron Davis beat up on Elijah Garcia. It really makes this guy Hernandez look, promising, right? Because he was beating on Kyron Davis with ease. He made him look like a punching bag in there. So I am interested to see where the guy comes from. He is, to me, he's made himself a contender, right? If he can beat someone who beat this guy, who just beat this guy, who was a former champion, you know what I'm saying? Boxing combat math doesn't, work, but it does mean something if you can beat these guys, right? Who beat other notable names who are now getting wins. So I would like to see where he goes from here. And just to be just put it out there, B-Day, I was watching them guys fight, and I was like, "Who the fuck is Hernandez?" You didn't have that same thought?
What do you mean? Why?
When you saw those two guys in the ring?
No, no, I don't know what you're talking about. When you saw Hernandez, you said, "Who the fuck are these guys?"
I'm saying when I saw Kyron Davis and Hernandez in the ring fighting, I said, "Who the fuck is Hernandez? Which one of them is Hernandez?" Like,
okay.
What's going on here?
Well, I get what you're saying. Hernandez, though, he was wearing the black and the green, so it sort of seemed like he was wearing Nigerian trunks or something. With the motif, the Nigerian motif, and he does look very, very dark. But that's Cuba for you. It's like Ecuador, Venezuela. They have the real dark skinned Latinos. Because they are Latinos technically. And but man, he really pushed Kyron Davis, man. I like the combinations. And here's what we've got, man. We've got a whole new school of Cuban fighters. Just when you thought it was over, just when you thought Frank Sanchez was on the way out, Luis Ramirez, Lara and Gamboa, obviously way past their peaks. Now you got some entertaining Cubans coming in. You got Yoenis Tellez at 154 pounds, 24 years old. Not one of these old Cubans that comes out of the Olympics or whatever, 31, 32. No, he's still young, 24. He's entertaining, 5'10", 154 pounds. He's putting it on there. Then you got Hernandez at 168 pounds. You got Osleis Iglesias at 168 pounds as well. I think he's fought a couple of times here in Canada, my neck of the woods in Montreal. He's another southpaw. He's like the new David Morrell. David Morrell moves up to 175 pounds, leaves 168. Boom. Another Cuban southpaw who's also a power puncher replaces him. So you got Tellez, you got David Morrell as a new Cuban school. And also you've got, don't forget, you've got
William Skull?
Rolando Romero. Well, school, I think he's Nigerian, the way he fought. Rolando Romero. Don't forget, he's Cuban too. He pulled off an upset against Ryan Garcia. So Cubans are back. Absolutely. No ifs and buts about it. Earl Stevens says, it's only a matter of time they quit on the stool. Oh, come on. I'm talking about, come on, I just show you a bunch of talent coming up here for the Cubans, and that's the best you've got. You got to denigrate the Cubans saying they're going to get buck broken the first time they face opposition. I don't agree with that. I disagree with that. What do you think, Solvers? All this Cuban talent.
I think that guy Iglesias, I swear, he's the WBO champion, right?
I don't know. I don't follow the titles anymore, but I'll take your word for it.
He's one of the IBO. Man, I'm thinking about the IBO, like the one that still they don't give a shit about.
Oh yeah, you're right. It says here IBO. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because I remember looking up at all the champions. I was looking at the rankings at 168. I think it was last year, and I'm like, this guy right here. I want Canelo to fight this fucking guy right here.
Oh,
this fucking Cuban champion right here. so he could be the truly undisputed at 168, first undisputed of the 5-belt era. You know what I mean? That's why I wanted Canelo to fight this Iglesias dude.
So they
So he can make that IBO mean something.
First of all, okay, so that means they're already starting with that. I've predicted before when people fell for the 4 undisputed and the 4-belt era hype. You know, you hear that people saying Teofimo Lopez wasn't undisputed because he didn't have all 4 belts. I'm thinking, man, are you fucking? When did you start watching boxing? And so just the establishment tells you now, hey, now you gotta have 4 belts to be undisputed, and these people just gobble it up. They love gagging all over these belts, man. And so what I'm saying here is, and you just gave me an example that, yeah, people are already starting that now. Now it's going to be 5-belt era. Undisputed in the 5-belt era.
I'm starting that, BDA.
Come on. If you start at Sobers, I don't think you and I are going to be able to be friends anymore. I mean, this is it. This is ridiculous. The IBO now. And by the way, remember when people were saying, well, not everybody, but a couple of people were actually saying that Canelo had ducked David Morrell. Remember that? When Morrell was still 160 pounds?
Yes.
You'll hear people say that.
I remember.
He ducked Andrade. He ducked Benavidez. He ducked Morrell. Morrell, the guy whose best win was Sean Agbeko. That guy. My goodness gracious. Real quick before we continue, hey, because listen, it's Canelo's the face of boxing, and Benavidez is the guy that he supposedly dodged. We always got to talk about that. There's something we got to mention here. But before we do so, shout out to The Zone. Just want to mention real quick that Bektemir Melikuziev, aka Bek the Bully, had a very entertaining fight against Darius Fulghum. People were calling him Fulgums in the Discord. We were watching the fight there. Well, I mean, not watching it. Was that
Fulghum?
Yeah, that's the other one. That's the other. You know, people are fucking immature, man. They just butcher the names. By the way, people were also butchering Melikuziev's name. Somebody was calling him. It was Double L, calling him Beck the bitch because he's got no heart.
Beck the bitch.
I think Jack the Ripper was calling him Cuck the bully. I mean, they were just going after these two guys who were putting on an entertaining fight for us fans. Meanwhile, if they only knew that a bunch of nobodies like us on the Discord were making fun of their names. But it was an interesting fight. Bektemir Melikuziev ended up edging it by unanimous decision. He ended up dropping Darius Fulghum in the last round, I believe. Both guys displayed faulty defense, bad gas tanks. Fulghum showed a horrible guard too. His guard consisted of putting his arms all the way up and then flaring his elbows, essentially daring Melikuziev to hit him to the body, which Melikuziev only did intermittently or in spots. Sobers, what did you think of this fight?
Actually, that's the fight I did not get to catch because I was watching the other card. I'm not very high on Beck the Bully. I don't think he's very good. I think his haircut's stupid. The way he holds his hands is even stupider. And then the celebration that Gabriel Rosado had after knocking him out is like the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Well, no, well, I mean, yeah, well, Rosado jumping up like he won the World Cup, yeah. That. But
you could tell he was clenching his butt cheeks all tight. You know, running around the ring like, oh! He was so he couldn't even believe he knocked him out.
Hey, man,
it was so funny.
Shout out to Gabriel Rosado, man. That was an upset for him. He deserved that win, and good for him for knocking out Melikuziev. But people were saying, though, Sobers, that Gabriel Rosado essentially buck broke Melikuziev because he hasn't been the same since. He's failed to live up to his bully moniker ever since he got iced by Rosado back in 2021. What do you think?
I just think that style was going to get found out no matter what. Like I said, you know, the way he holds his hands, he has like no respect for anybody's power. He doesn't try to fight with any defense. His punches are pretty wide. He's just not very skilled. I think he was maybe he was like running through, you know, lower level guys in Kazakhstan.
Mm-hmm.
And it was around the time that Triple G was, I guess, on the way out the door. So, you know, there are some people kind of looking like, oh, who's the next one? Is there going to be another one? Is there going to be another Cossack Thunder fighter? You know, and they're just cheating like this guy, this Borat looking dude. And,
come on.
You know, they just try to hype him up, you know? That's how I see it.
Who is it that said that the Uzbeks are the new Cubans? They're the Cuban school of Central Asia, that they come out with these amateur accolades. But then once they get into professional ranks, they just can't They just can't live up to it. By the way, why did Beck the Bully decide to go with the Jean Cyril haircut? Look at that.
That's his bitch cut his hair.
He put you can tell they just used the bowl, the aluminum bowl. They just put it over his head. That's what they used to do when he was young, right? When they were living in Soviet Uzbekistan, no money for haircuts, so they just did it at home with the iron bowl. But come on, man, you got a little bit more money now. You got a little bit more money now. What's up? And MJ too, like Madaliev, who also I forget his last name, who fought on the other DAZN card at the same time in Mexico, who looked horrible too, by the way. He looked slow. I mean, he ended up getting the stoppage, but I don't know. It's like he was afraid of hurting his hand or something in that fight. Didn't want to botch the Inoue fight, but they all got the same haircuts over there in Uzbekistan. I don't know what this is all about. Bernard says the Downs look is all part of the sell. Come on. He's saying the Down syndrome look. Come on, that's going too far, man. These people you guys are horrible, man.
Makes him look more intimidating.
Because of the tarts.
Oh, you can't hurt this guy.
Yeah, he's already. You can't give him more brain damage. You know, that's a dangerous part. He'll just walk through everything.
Exactly.
Oh, come on, man. You guys are horrible. If you're enjoying this, and I don't know why you would, but shout out to everybody in the chat. Hit the like if you're enjoying this show. So that was the card there on the zone. Also, you got a guy by the name of Eric Priest. I think that's his first name, Eric, I think. Beating up Luis Arias by decision. So the Bishop gets himself a good win. He doesn't have world-class power or speed, but he's very quick and ended up putting up an interesting fight against Luis Arias. So that was a good fight right there. All right, so here's what I wanted to talk about next, Sobers. And, we talked about David Benavidez. How instead of waiting for the winner of Beterbiev versus Bivol, the rubber match, the Sheik had offered him a fight against Callum Smith in order to wait, which was probably good money. And instead, Benavidez said, nope, we're going to be pressing for the WBC belt. Or which belt did they strip Bivol off? I forget. The WBC, right?
I think the WBC. The WBC BDA that everyone's saying is corrupt. It would never enforce him to fight Canelo, and I'm not gonna do no business with. He shouldn't do no business with them, and they're just fucking him over and blah blah blah. Now they love the WBC, and now they're their champion.
Yeah, I still don't understand. So instead of waiting around for the winner, he said, no, I want that belt. And I don't think that was Benavidez's call. I think that was what's his name again? He's half Jewish, half Argentinian promoter or whatever. He's Chilean. I don't know what he is. Lukowitz, Samson Lukowitz.
I can't remember his name right now.
Samson Lukowitz, with the open unbuttoned shirt so he can show his facial chest hair, which is disgusting.
Got the hamburger meat hanging out.
Exactly, yeah, just disgusting. And he's the guy behind all of this. He's the guy who botched the Canelo fight by demanding TV rights when they had no standing to do so. He's the guy that's been orchestrating Benavidez's career, keeping him over at the PBC where nothing is happening. And he said, listen, we want the Beterbiev Bivol winner. But he's talking about how they deserve the WBC belt. I don't know why he deserved it, beating an old Gvozdyk and then beating a fellow super middleweight in David Morrell. All of a sudden, he deserves to be called champion. So, but he said a couple of months ago, Lukowitz said, no, we want the Bivol Beterbiev winner. So they're acting as if they really wanted to fight them, and that's why they had to press for the WBC belt. Instead of just waiting for the rubber match to take place and then fighting him. Well, now, Benavidez's father, Jose Benavidez Sr., says that David Benavidez wants a future fight with Zurdo Ramirez. Well, this is what he had to say, first of all. Let's see what he had to say. He says, we want to defend the title maybe 2 or 3 times and then fight Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. That's the fight David wants. So they said, we want to defend the title 2 or 3 times. No mention of Beterbiev Bivol, by the way. Otherwise, he would say so directly because those are the 2 only relevant names in the division. And then he goes, and then we were at Zurdo Ramirez. Sobers, I hate to say it, man, because I don't want it to happen, but are they tacitly admitting, or not tacitly, but indirectly admitting that they're not going to fight Bivol or Beterbiev and that really the big fight that they want is a cruiserweight matchup against Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez? What's going on here?
I like David Benavidez. I like his style. I watched him come up, but in the bones of his career, I've said this before, in the very bones of his career, he's a PBC fighter, and they doing PBC moves. They're fucking up his career in a way. They're trying to steer him away from the hardest fights and trying to give him the most favorable, I guess, and lucrative fights they think they can make for him. But they're trying to keep him undefeated, and all this nonsense with the WBC and like you were saying at first, like okay, so they invited him to the Riyadh to see the fight between Bivol and Beterbiev, the rematch.
Mm-hmm.
You would assume because once the winner's announced, they would want him to go up there and challenge the winner, and now we have the next undisputed fight lined up. The guy leaves before the fight's even over. He gets on the plane. You accept the invitation from the Turkey, and then you leave, before the fight's even over, because probably your boss told you to get out of here. I really think that was intentional from someone at PBC. They made him leave because they said, hold on, bro, he's not making your plans. We are, right? And you do what you're told. And it's just like I'm just saying, just PBC bullshit, bro. They're going to steer him in a direction that's going to end up getting him beat in a way that's going to be embarrassing. And I think David's a good fighter, and I just don't like this shit that they're doing with him. They've mentioned Gilberto Ramirez before, right? They said that name before the Beterbiev Bivol rematch happened, right? He was saying, "Oh, I want to fight the winner of Beterbiev or Bivol. If I can't get that, I want to go up and challenge Zurdo."
Mm-hmm.
But so now, like he seems like he's dancing around. Okay, I want to defend my belt. He's probably gonna fight Callum Smith, right? Or maybe someone like Anthony Yard, and then he'll just and then he'll just move up. Man, dude, like I don't know what to think about it, bro. But it just seems like I was just saying, like a PBC fighter in his bones. They're gonna sidestep the hardest competition and look for favorable matchups and get their fighter embarrassed. That's the formula. That's what they do. And it seems like that's what they're trying to do with David.
With Sean McCollum, what are you seeing?
And Gary doing what he got to do. He's using his job. He's keeping his distance. He's looking great right now.
What more do you want to see from him in the second half of the fight?
I want to see him use his distance more and his power. He's looking like using his power, so I'm really happy with what he's using right now.
What do you do again?
I mean, I got to tell you, Sobers, I think you hit on a bunch of salient points right there, man. First of all, the PBC, yeah, it's Samson Lukowicz. I mean, Benavidez is must-see TV. Even though he hasn't been getting stoppages, but he goes out there and he tries to get the stoppage. Combinations, body punching, just the whole package. He's got that sauce, as Idle would say. But sticking with the PBC, when they can only get you one fight per year, is something that's pretty suspect. And then on top of that, the association with Samson Lukowicz, who failed to get him the Canelo fight, although I'm pretty sure Samson Lukowicz didn't tell Benavidez that. And yeah, the going over to the Riyadh season to try to get Beterbiev Bivol, to start lighting the fire for that fight, of the winner of that fight. And he leaves. He says, "Oh, I got to go to the bathroom real quick," and then he never comes back. I mean, what was that about? That was very bizarre, and I don't even know if he ever addressed that too. Now all this talk about, well, I'm a Las Vegas fighter and I want to stay in Vegas. Why would you want to stay in a town that's dying? That's what Las Vegas is. It's dying. Nobody shows up there anymore. The only times people are gonna be showing up is for a big fight like Crawford versus Canelo, if they hold it in Vegas. That's gonna be a big event. Other than that, in this economy, people don't want to fucking drive all the way to the desert for a half-empty town to pay up the wazoo for a hotel room and tickets. So you're right, man. This whole Benavidez thing with the PBC, it's unconscionable that he's still with them. And I don't know. You know what? When he got that WBC belt a couple of months ago, I refused to believe. I had a feeling that maybe he was gonna avoid Beterbiev Bivol, and he might still fight him. Who knows? I don't base everything, all my opinions based on what fighters say. I base it on actions. But right now we don't have any actions. All we have is words. And when Jose Benavidez Sr. is talking about how we want to defend the belt 2 or 3 times and then fight Gilberto Ramirez, and they don't even mention directly fighting the winner of Bivol Beterbiev 3, it doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence that Benavidez is going to be fighting the winner of that fight. Especially with everything you said, Sobers, and the background in the past, how Benavidez has had his career steered by his handlers. Doesn't fill me with much confidence that he's actually going to fight the winner of Bivol Beterbiev 3. But hey.
Also, one more thing about it, too. There was this weird little tension between the WBC and Turkey, right? Which was led to them ordering Benavidez versus Bivol, and then Bivol dropping the belt to secure the third fight with Beterbiev, and then David aligning himself with them basically against Turkey by taking that belt, right? So it's going to be hard for them to make business afterwards with Bivol Beterbiev.
That's a possibility.
You know what I'm saying?
No, you're right. There is a possibility that these sanctioning bodies were sort of a little bit what's the word I'm looking for here? Reticent to work with the Turkey Sheik, because there were rumblings and rumors that maybe the Sheik wanted to get rid of the sanctioning belts, or not necessarily get rid of them, but sort of start weaning the boxing world off of these alphabet organizations, which is actually good. It would actually work, but I mean, it would actually be good for us boxing fans too. But yeah, these organizations, they make money. Technically, they're non-profits, I believe, but we all know what the deal is. So yeah, if they face extinction in the face of the Turkey Al Sheik, then I would understand maybe a little bit of acrimony in the relationship with him. Don't forget to hit the like, people. Hit the like. It really helps us out. Speaking of, we're always going to mention a couple of updates about Canelo versus Crawford. A lot more people now picking Crawford over Canelo. We knew that Shakur Stevenson was always gonna pick Crawford over Canelo. Now he's saying Crawford's gonna whoop him. He's being unequivocal about it. But there's a couple of people out there that are saying that this ain't gonna end well. Rolly Romero says Canelo's gonna beat Crawford, and now Jermall Charlo, who fought this past weekend, had something to say about that. He says that Crawford is gonna make the same mistake that his brother Jermall's brother, that is, of course, made against Canelo back in 2023. He said, "My brother fought Canelo, not me. I like Crawford." I like how he has to point that out, by the way. Hey, my brother fought Canelo, not me. It's like, yeah, we knew that, man. I don't know who's... well, you never know, though. There might be people who confuse both guys. But maybe he's confused. I don't know. He says, I like Crawford in this... So imagine Jermall is so out of it. He thought he fought Canelo. Yeah, man, when I fought Canelo back in 2023, man, I showed that sauce. I showed them spices. I showed that swagger.
When I get that rematch, baby, it's on.
He's out of his mind. No, but he said, my brother fought Canelo, not me. I like Crawford in this fight, and he looked to stay big. But my brother even told me that's the mistake that he made. He thought going up in weight, I got to get massive. I got to get big to beat Canelo. It made him slower. It made his reflexes slower. He'll tell you himself, it made him slower. He didn't feel like the Jermall Charlo that y'all have seen in fights. Crawford, I feel, is the same. I feel like the same thing is happening to him. You want to try to get big and try to absorb Canelo's punches, but technically that's not the Crawford that we're going to see. Crawford is going to go up to fight Canelo 168, and he's not a 168 pounder. Where is the motivation? Y'all got to think about it, he said. Sobers, what do you think? Is Jermall Charlo one of the few people speaking sense here, not drinking the Crawford Kool-Aid, or is Crawford that good that he can move up to 168 and school Canelo, whom a lot of people are saying he's past it?
Well, has Jermall Charlo tried wrestling with Crawford? Does he really know who he's dealing with?
Excellent point. Excellent point.
You know, first off, and does he know that Crawford has that Dao?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You don't know the full extent of Crawford's strength and sexual prowess before he's pinning, unless he's pinning you against the floor in front of your wife. It's true. That's all these YouTubers going out there wrestling Crawford, getting manhandled by the guy in front of their wives. You're right. Jermall Charlo shouldn't be able to talk before he actually wrestles Crawford. That's a great point there, Sobers.
No, but being serious though, those are kind of points I try to bring up, right? That's what I think is. That's what I really think is gonna be the Achilles heel for Crawford, right? Because everyone's saying he has the skills, more speed, and whoop-de-whoop. He's not gonna have that footwork. Those legs are gonna be heavier. You know, those his arms are going to be heavier. Just like he gained weight, right? He had like another 10 pounds to fight Madrimov. Now add another 20, 30 pounds of that. You know, you're not going to be able to move the same. It's not going to be the same body composition. You're not going to be comfortable like that because that's not how you usually perform. So it's just too many things that are going to be foreign to him at a new level against like a world tier opponent. It's not going to be a touch up. It's not going to be a soft touch. So it's just like a recipe for disaster, really. And I see guys that tell me that Crawford is going to win. When I ask them how, they never give me a real answer. Like we make jokes about it, but they really just say shit like, I don't know, man. I just feel like it's going to happen. I just feel it. And, you know, Crawford's just different. And, you know, he kind of lets on that he's stronger than he shows. And we're going to see it against Canelo. And just all this nonsensical shit, you know, it's just. So, yeah, I agree with what Charlo's saying.
Yeah, Charlo, one of the few people out there still sticking to his guns, saying from a year ago, because, you know, a year ago, if you ask most people, hey, who's going to win? Only a couple were saying Crawford was going to pull it off. Now, after the school fight, the Canelo school fight, Canelo's done. That's what people are saying. And Crawford's just too good. He's got that dog. He's got the special sauce and the 10 spices. And he has that X factor, like Teddy Atlas says. So we'll see in September. I can't wait for this fight, man, because whatever happens, I think it's going to give us a lot to talk about. That's all I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to fodder for this show. So we'll see what happens right there. 1 foot out the door says certified dog. Yeah, he's got that. He's got the dog certificate. Crawford, that is. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you go to his house, after he wrestles you, he shows you all his accolades, all his trophies, and he's got the dog certification pinned against his wall. Ignorant Boxing says the wrestling. Yeah, the rest that grappling from Crawford. That's where it is right there. That's why he's going to use to beat Canelo, by the way. He's just going to outwork him and outmuscle him in the clinches. Green Reaper says he might feel stronger. He'll probably be slower. Yeah, that's what Charlo was intimating there. Al Cuerpo Boxing says Saul Alvarez might fail a test. Snack and Conti might be bought against Turkey's enemies. Well, you never know. Yeah, that's a good point. You just know the Conti's working on that new snack formula, because if Crawford wins and beats Canelo and he's wearing that snack T-shirt and the cap, the baseball cap, you just know Conti. He's an egomaniac, man. That's what people have said about him. He loves to have his name associated with winners. He said it himself, Victor Conti. He said he always wanted to be part of something special, even if it came at the cost of cheating. So you never know, man. Hard Recall says maybe that's the reason. They're talking about Benavidez. He wants to stay in Vegas for the judges and for the injections. Oh, come on. I don't know what that means. Bronzeman says, let's not pretend Canelo wasn't caught cheating. Well, that was reversed. So, you know, if you're going to go by, if you want to abide by the rules and VADA and all this, or, you know, they ended up clearing him. You know, they suspended him because they had to at the time, but then they ended up clearing him retroactively. So, I don't know about the cheating part. But by the way, of course, he's got to be on something. So is Crawford. They're all on something. Even Chris Algieri said that.
Not naive, you know?
Yeah, let's not be naive here. Speaking of naivete, a guy that's trying to pull his way out of being seen as a mere prospect and as a full-fledged, pound for pounder is Keyshawn Davis, who's going to be fighting sobers. Not fighting sobers, rather, but I'm just saying, I'm addressing sobers here. Keyshawn Davis is going to be fighting this Saturday against a very dangerous Edwin De Los Santos. However, there is a bit of a caveat to this fight, and that is that De Los Santos has not fought since November 2023, when they offered up that horrible performance, that horrible fight against Shakur Stevenson, one of the most boring fights of all time. And, on paper, it looks like a tough fight, but like I said, De Los Santos hasn't fought since November 2023. That's over a year and a half layoff by the time this fight occurs. And even though, like I said, De Los Santos has speed and power, you just have to wonder if his timing is going to be there. But De Los Santos is still talking a big game coming into this fight, and he said, hold on a second. He says that Keyshawn Davis won't be able to continue if I connect. But I'm reading this article, by the way, And now I'm looking forward to this fight less and less. Check this out. It says, following his close but clear loss to Shakur Stevenson in 2023, De Los Santos was forced to the sidelines due to a blood clot in his left leg. I didn't even know about this. He had a blood clot on his left leg? First of all, what's that about? Jab. You know what I mean? Maybe the jab? Hopefully he doesn't die suddenly like Mike McCollum did this past weekend. But yeah, a blood clot. So not only, I mean, I don't know, man. From what I understand, people are going to be taking blood thinners after suffering from blood clots. And I don't know what those type of effects that might have on a guy's physicality on top of the layoff. Now, some people might be saying, "Oh, you guys are shitting on this fight just in case Keyshawn Davis wins." But I mean, it's a reality that the guy's been out of the ring since 2023, November 2023, and that he's got a blood clot. So why are we not supposed to mention that, Solvers?
I mean, they don't want you to mention that. Nobody likes you mentioning that Spence was launched out of a car like 100 miles an hour and stuff, and like that has no effect with his boxing career. But you know,
yeah. And look, I think Keyshawn Davis is relatively entertaining. He's a power puncher. I think partially that's because of his size advantage at lightweight. I mean, the guy looked like a middleweight compared to Baranchyk in his last fight, but at least he goes for the knockouts. You know, he did the same thing to Lemos. Instead of back foot bitching it for 12 rounds the way Richardson Hitchens did against Lemos, he took Lemos out. And then he takes Baranchyk out. So we see guys like Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney have these size advantages, and they can't even score in stoppages. At least Keyshawn Davis is doing that. So, you know, he is for a relatively entertaining fighter. But I don't know how entertaining this fight's going to be if De Los Santos has been idle since November 2023. And on top of that, he ended up being forced to the sidelines because of a blood clot. I mean, this guy's he's fucking having cardiac arrest. He's having these long COVID effects, as they call it. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Solvers? Are you looking forward to this fight?
No, not in particular. What I'll say about Davis is, like you're saying, he's knocking the guys out he's supposed to knock out of the young crop of fighters. He does seem to be the best one. You know, he's getting the job done like he's supposed to. He's not like Devin Haney. It's Shakur Stevenson complaining about his hand, you know, dancing around. He's trying to get the job done. And against the smaller guys that he has a good size advantage over, he's doing what he's supposed to do. We'll see what happens at bigger weight classes. But I think he's on track for what he's supposed to be doing.
There you go. Yeah, I agree with you there. And by the way, speaking of entertaining fights, I didn't even know about this, but there was a guy by the name of Daniel Blancas on the PBC undercard. I suppose it wasn't televised, but apparently he scored one of the contenders for knockout of the year in that card. Check this out.
Yeah, he pulled his skirt up and everything. God damn.
Come on. He pulled his skirt up. Yeah, first of all, that's one of the bad things of putting on those Hector Camacho, DeMarcus Corley type trunks is that once you fall...
The Mandingo skirt.
Well, first of all, Blancas, I've never heard of this dude, but I'm going to want to watch him. Look at how he's loading up on his shots. Okay, by the way, too...
Oh my God. You can see that guy's coochie when he falls down.
He's wearing the skirt. It's bad enough. And then it looks like he's wearing a pink protector underneath. Why is it got to be pink?
Like a full tampon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it says, oh man, what is that, man?
What the fuck are we doing out here? I asked you.
What? Oh.
You can see his camel toe.
Come on. Come on, Summers, come on. It's a morning show, man. What are you doing? Yeah, but I mean, hey, listen, that was a nice knockout right there from David. What is his name? Blancas? I don't even know if I mispronounced it. But yeah, that's a nice shot right there. And last thing before we go here, we're almost done. We've been out here for 2 hours. We got to go. We got things to do. We're busy people. Daniel Dubois who's going to be rematching Alexander Usyk for the legitimate heavyweight championship later on this summer, was talking about knockouts, and this is what he had to say about manhandling people in the ring. He said, in those moments, you just get stronger as you get closer to the ring. Like Mike Tyson, Dubois said, you get stronger as you get closer. And when you're in the ring, you become a god sometimes. That night, talking about the Joshua fight, I rose up and I'm going to do it again. Sounds like a Nine Inch Nails song. I'm turning into a god. I don't know, yeah, Daniel Dubois, isn't that what serial killers say, sobers? Oh, when I'm strangling a bitch, that's when I come. That's when I'm close to being God. And I'm like, what? I've never heard of.
Well, when you start relating yourself to that, like a deity, there's some delusion going on. There's something mentally not going on, right?
Are you at the taqueria? Are you at the flea market now?
Of course I am, bro. I know you hear the music.
I heard the flea market music in the background there. Yeah. I can smell the churros through the screen there, Sovers. Come on. What are you? You're on the East Coast too, man. Are they open that early? The pulga? Ah, there you go. Okay, I got you. He's at the supermarket. When you're a Mexican living in Atlanta or in Georgia, you gotta be played at the Mexican angle double hard to try to prove that you're Mexican. So
you gotta let everyone know you're here, bro.
Yeah, Sovers has to go to the market in the morning. He has to get all Mexican food. He's got to wear the sombrero. He's got to put on the act. You guys don't hear that, but when he's walking around in the streets, he talks very differently than when he's on the show. He's like, "Hey, what's up, everybody?"
I'm like, "Hello, my friend."
That's right. Hello, my friend. Yeah, he hangs around. He hangs out out of the Home Depot, even though he's got a job. He does all this weird behavior, man. But yeah, Daniel Dubois saying he feels closer to God when he's in the ring. What do you think that's about? Isn't that like a little bit serial killerish there, Sobers?
It's delusions of grandeur.
Can you have delusions of grandeur when you have the intelligence of a Daniel Dubois? He doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on up there. So don't you need to have a certain level of intelligence to be a narcissist?
Oh, damn, you're right. Someone must be putting it in his head.
Well, I don't know, man. I really don't know what's going on here, but that's what he said. He says he feels closer to God. What do you expect from the Usyk rematch? Do you think this is a new and improved Dubois that's going to really look different than he did in the first fight, or do you think it goes the same way?
I think it goes similar to the first fight. Actually, no, I think it's going to go... I think Usyk's really going to beat him up. I think he's going to punish him.
Whoa.
There's been a lot of tension in this fight. Build up. As far as Dubois trying to actually egg Usyk on by pushing him, and then his coach questioning Usyk's faith. Did you see that after the first fight?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know what God you believe in, Usyk, but my God doesn't believe in lying. You know what I mean, or some shit like that. And he even confronted Usyk and his team at one of the one of the little interviews, and Usyk looked like he was almost going to fight with this guy. And the dude was in there telling him, like, I'm a boxer. I know what it's like to get hit low. I've had 3 fights or 4 fights or some shit. He's saying this to Usyk. So I don't know if they're doing it on purpose to try to piss him off and get him out of his game, but they're acting like assholes.
Yeah,
and, I think Usyk's going to really punish Dubois.
You're referring to a member of Dubois' team who went up to Usyk. He goes, I know psychology. I know physiological changes. Like, what? Those type of people that they always got to tell you their qualifications beforehand because they don't have any confidence in their actual statement. So they always got to tell you what they do, what they're all about, how much sauce they get. They got that swagger. They got the shake and bake. And that's what he was telling Usyk. Like, I know. But that was Dubois' new trainer, Don Charles' argument. He's like, when you got hit, you didn't react like you got hit to the balls, because when you get hit to the balls, you react immediately. You reach towards your private parts, and he didn't do that. And then you rewatch it, and you go, "That's exactly what he did." He bent over, and his hands went over to his crotch. So I don't understand what this guy's talking about. And then when you could tell he was really pissed off at Usyk, because Usyk in his broken English says something about in reply to what Don Charles said about God and whatever. He goes, "I Jesus." Jesus. And Don Charles thought he was saying, because the way Usyk said Jesus, Don Charles thought said he was saying jealous. And he immediately said, jealous of what? Jealous of what? And you could tell that he was already all primed up. There's a lot of insecurity.
Jealous of that porcelain white skin, those gorgeous blue eyes, that long flowing blonde hair.
Exactly, yeah. You think I'm jealous of those Caucasoid traits? You should be back in a cave. That's what he was going to say. He's like, you're a Neanderthal. You should be back in a cave, Usyk. But it was weird, man. You could tell that there were, I don't know, it seemed like there was a little bit of insecurity, boxing-wise, from Don Charles. That's where his mind went to. Instead of hearing Jesus, he heard jealous. And I'm thinking, I don't know, man. That doesn't bode well for them in the rematch. But let me tell you something. Dubois has good, quick hands for a guy his size. Obviously, power. So if Usyk beats him, see that people think that Usyk just shows up and he just fights at a 50% capacity and he beats all these guys up. No, he has to redline it to beat these giants. And it was the same team against Dubois in the first fight. So what happens if now at 38 years of age, he tries to replicate the result from 2 years ago? And all of a sudden, it's not working out the way it did back then. All of a sudden, he finds out that, my timing's a little less sharp than it was in 2023. What if my speed isn't there anymore? What if I can't turn it up the way I used to against Fury and Joshua? What happens then? So that's what I'm intrigued by coming into this fight. Blue Collar Sports TV says Dubois has a power of autism on his side. Come on. I mean, yeah, the Dubois has a little bit of, I don't know, man. It just seems like his father has a lot of money. I think they injected him with a lot of nutrients early on in his career. I mean, in his life. And if it wasn't for that, maybe Dubois would have turned out to be he'd be in special ed right now. I don't know. I hate to speculate, but that's the way it seems like to me.
He'd be counting cookies and shit.
Come on.
In class.
He's walking around with chocolate on his shirt, like chocolate stains. But listen.
He's wearing a helmet.
Come on. I don't know why you guys have to dog Dubois that way. This is supposed to be a nice, wholesome show and people are making fun of the guy. But we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens in the summer, and we'll talk more about this De Los Santos, Keyshawn Davis ESPN card. One of the final ESPN top-ranked cards we're going to be seeing because they're almost at the end there. Also, June the 5th, I think that's Friday, we've got Artur Biarslanov, Russian guy fighting here in my neck of the woods in Montreal. Junior welterweight taking on Zolani Nongeni. If you know about Nongeni, he's a guy that gives a lot of these top lightweights and junior welterweights good work. He took David Haney the distance. Tito Mercado, he took him the distance, and Mercado's a power puncher. The only guy who was able to stop him, surprisingly, was Barboza recently. Which is weird because Barboza doesn't stop anybody, but you figure that Nongeni is going to show up, and if he shows up in shape, he probably gives this guy a good fight. Also, Imam Kataev, who has a fight scheduled against David Morrell, all of a sudden he's fighting this week against the always dangerous TBA to be announced. So we'll see how he looks there. And also on that ESPN card taking place on Saturday, Keyshawn Davis de Los Santos, you also have Abdullah Mason taking on another dangerous African fighter in Jeremiah Nakatila. That guy can still crack 10 rounds lightweights. Kelvin Davis, Keyshawn Davis's brother, I believe, taking on Nahir Albright, who had a no contest against Keyshawn Davis because Keyshawn Davis got caught smoking the wacky tobacco. And even despite that, Albright had managed to give Davis a good fight, stunned him, connected with a bunch of jabs. Keon Davis, I don't know if that's another family member, taking on Michael Velez Garcia. So the interesting card right there from Top Rank, top to bottom. Looks like a good card. And that's about it. That's all I got. Sobers, anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, I don't think so.
All right. He doesn't think so. It sounded like you had something to say, but then you sort of backtracked a little bit. And I can only imagine and speculate what you were going to say, but it is what it is. Gene Ryu says that's a Thursday, Mr. BDA. I don't know. I'm looking. Oh, yeah, you're right. The Montreal card, that's a Thursday. That's what they hold them on Thursdays nowadays for some reason. That's on ESPN Plus. So, yeah, that's a Thursday card from the Montreal one. And then on Friday then. Okay, so it's Friday, there's the zone card. Heavyweights taking place. And then on Saturday, you get the ESPN card there between Keyshawn Davis and De Los Santos. All right. Just wanted to make sure we got that straightened out. So shout out to everybody who called in. Shout out to everybody who tuned in. Sober, shout out to you for jumping in here. Glad to have you on board. And we'll try to be back with another show this. Absolutely. We'll try to be back this week to preview the ESPN card, talk more about that, maybe a couple more shows. You never know. And what else do you want to say about that? That's about it. Shout out to Gene Ryu 33, Bernhard Bernard, the Quags, one of the initiated right there. Blue Collar Sports TV, aka Del Boy, Double L, Vader D, Broton's Boxing. And that's about it for it, man. We gotta go, man. Oh no, hold on. I forgot some people. Double L, Mohammed Amhard, Bruce Lee, Scrap TV, One Foot on the Door, Grim Reaper, Al Cuerpo Boxeo, Vader D. If I forgot anybody, it's because we